Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hi, hello, how are my royalties, my lovelies? Okay, well, let's get out some boiling, scorching hot patty tea. I'm going to be doing another becoming related type of video. And I'm going to be rewatching and rewatching because there's so much from that documentary and from different aspects and different scopes that I can look and view it. Everything from her as a mother, as a lawyer, as a woman and a black woman. Yes, there is a difference, and if you don't know that difference, that means you really don't know about our history. The racism and the hatred, the political aspects, the desire of who you are going to marry, your desire to marry, or the type of leadership you want in your household, the barriers around you as a human being. There is so much within her documentary. And our current first lady, and one person even stated that it's not really the whole Melania documentary. Isn't really a documentary, it's like a reality show. And even that woman stated how you might be inspired by her fashion and blah blah blah. And I'm going to probably talk about that too because with the First Lady, a lot of people don't care about what they say or the impact that they try to have around the world or within the nation. They want to talk about her fashion, what she's wearing, what her hair looks like. But then a lot of the racist people want to put down her hair and parts of her fashion and things. But then some of the same things that she said in her speeches was copied off of, well, the woman who has a documentary or so-called documentary out right now. Yeah, she loved to copy her speeches. And then when it comes to her fashion, oh, Fox News and Newsman, oh, they want to celebrate this woman. Even, yeah. But with Mrs. Obama, oh, they were so hard on her. And then with Mr. Obama, too, if you know of the tan suit situation. So, yeah. Going to be talking about that as well. See, so yeah, I'm going to have a whole list. So the becoming is going to probably be its own segment, its own series and things, especially when it comes to dating, because she didn't want to be like even this question about being a statistic. I thought was really interesting how to make sure you're not going to be. And yeah, my grades, yeah, I was on the top. It was like I with my learning situationship, I it took anything and everything out of me. And I didn't know why until after I was done with all of my education. And no, I learn every day and I love reading and watching documentaries and studying new material, even though I'm not going to be graded on it. But especially it helps me with my business, my creativity, and my thought process and things. But you never know. I might go back and get a third master's once I pay off. Yeah, gonna be interesting, but let's find out. Let's see. Once I get the businesses together and publish at least 4 or 5 other novels and maybe around 20 more children's books, because I have so many children's books that I've started but I haven't finished. So, yeah, and the greeting cards and the activity books but yeah, all of the messages within her documentary meant so much. And Mr. Obama gave us hope. And that was the funny thing. Like, while I was writing some notes and like thinking of titles or thinking of themes, I kept thinking, like, he gave me hope. And I remember, I believe it was the day of the election, because I remember it was right around voting that if I had a first date with the guy, and I like this is right in at the end of college, I believe. Yeah, I think it's like my first senior year, yeah, I think it was, yeah, my last senior year. Because, yeah, I had needed a fifth year because I double minored. But I had a date, and this was kind of a hint that I need to start asking God. Like, I still didn't ask until years and years later, like before I, like, because with Mr. Lockakey, I didn't think we were going to go out. I didn't want to go out. He blackmailed me into that dating situation. But if I knew we were going to date, I think I would have at least asked a few political questions. But I didn't ask political questions because I wasn't interested in dating him. But then, well, you know that horror story. I talk about that one so much. But yeah, back during the election year for Mr. Obama, it was it was an interesting date too because he seemed nice and stuff, but he also seemed like during the date when there were a couple other people talking about, I think CNN or one of the news channels were on, and they were discussing something political. And when one of them said something, I kind of looked over, and they were just like, "Oh, do you know?" But I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And so we kind of like, because I think we're at the pool table anyway, and so we kind of start chatting, and I am trying to let my date in with the conversation and things, but he just kind of looked at me, and right then and there, I was just like, mm, "Yeah, okay, well." If you don't want to get into the conversation, like, I mean, yeah, trust. It was our first date, anyways. I didn't really, and because I remember after the date too, like a week or two later, he told me that he found another date online, and she was a better fit for him. And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, congratulations. I'm happy for you. Okay, peace out." And then he wrote me back, and he was like, "You're not mad?" It was like, "What do you mean?" It was like, "I just said that we're not gonna," and I was like, "Yes, I understand that." I was like, "Yeah, we're not a match." I was like, "The conversation was stale." Oh, and he was like, "What do you mean our conversation was stale? What did I say? Like, you hardly said anything. It's like about the only thing you wanted to know was my bra size." Or just like some of the questions were just so minimal. It was just to a point where it's just like, what's the point of this? He's wasting my time. He has nothing of good value to talk about. And he keeps bragging about his car or the job that his father got him. He didn't work for anything he has. Everything his family got for him. He uses his white privilege just for the use of white privilege. And he knows it, but he's ashamed of it. And not ashamed, like, he doesn't want you to say it. You better not say it, but you better congratulate him for it, kind of thing. Which was odd. And because even when I was talking about, like, he talked about his education and things, and then he kind of asked mine, but it was just really, when talking about even me applying for jobs, and because this is like right near the end of school, I'm still applying, I'm still trying to get out there. He's kind of laughing at, like, he was like, oh, he was like, well, your resume must not be that good if you still haven't found a job yet. And this is right around 2007, 2008. Yeah. Mm. So I was just like, oh, okay. Mhm. Well, remember, your daddy got you your job. And now that I think about it, snot grass. Like, I know a lot of white men who their either parents gave them their job, bought their jobs, or are the reasons why they're able to work now. And I remember listening to a video a couple nights ago where they had a snippet from Marjorie Taylor Greene, that woman, and she was talking about how something about these Congress people, they won't be able to have, like, the only reason they won't stay in office because outside of here they can't get a job and everything like that. But she has her parents' construction job, if I remember right. So I just thought that was kind of funny too, because she's basically proving the white privilege type of thing. Because a lot of people, especially a lot of people of color, they don't have a family business to be passed on to them. And a lot of people who do try to start a business, they are not able to get the business loans or the financial backing in order to start the business. So then they have to work for the man in order to make a living to support their families. But then they get judged for it, or they're kept down to either lower class or middle class or whatever, because they're not able to get to that next step, or they're given that chance or whatever. And then I don't know, it's just annoying and frustrating. And it was really funny how this guy had the nerve to try to tell me, he was like, or he was mad that I wasn't jealous. He was mad that I wasn't trying to be one of those stereotypical black women. Oh, and that's a funny thing. So many of these privileged, stuck up, colonizing men, yeah, they expect black women to just act a certain way. Remember Paul? Yeah. The first time I called him because we matched on Bumble, and then he gave me his number and asked me to call him after he got off work. And he didn't answer because he said he was still getting stuff together, but he was going to call me 15 to 25 minutes later. And he did. And within the first minute of our conversation, of me, like, he heard me say two or three things. He says, "Oh my gosh, thank God you talk white." Yeah, yeah. As a black woman, the Obamas gave me hope. Mrs. Obama, with her being a lawyer, going to Princeton, and just being an amazing mother, and her fashion, and then looking at our leader, Mr. Obama, as such an amazing person, not perfect, but amazing. And he tried to make decisions that were going to at least do the best for as many humans as possible. Not perfect, but the best he could. Some people said he was terrible at international, like, resolutions. But looking deeper at some of the things, it made sense. Was it the best decision? But was it the best that he could come up with at the moment? I think that's what we had, like, yeah. Look at the mess we've got now. It's like hope left the building once the orange man went in office. It's like safety left the White House once that orange man started. We've got ice melting all down the streets, thirsty for immigrants, thirsty for people of color, thirsty to bleach out this country. And we need to find out and figure out, how can we get the America that Mr. Obama was working on. It's like allowing people to love who they want to love. Because it's none of my business who you sleep with. And it's none of your business who I sleep with. It's like you do you and I do me, you know? Let's have a safe country where you can have your Second Amendment, but let's make sure your mental stability, your mental health is together. Because for a lot of you, it isn't. And for a lot of you, you're bigoted and racist and awful, terrible human beings. You're so scared of a black person that you're gonna threaten them. Do you know how many Uber like drivers and or people who with the GPS maybe gone to the wrong street or house or whatever, knock on a door, and look what happens when they're black. But and yeah, because that one, there's a documentary about that, Perfect Neighbor or something like that. That's one of them. And there's so many. That young boy who got, like, Yeah, because there was, I think the streets, one was drive and one was court. He went to the wrong one. And the neighbor just saw he was black, so got his arsenal. And yeah, I like once the orange man went in office, it like, because like it was already dangerous for black people. People already always want to stereotype us and put us down and tell us that we're not smart enough, good enough, or capable enough. And then you see how with Mrs. Obama, it's she went to Princeton. And then she got to Princeton and she got to see the real privilege within the education system. She got to see some of these colonizing colored men get to go because of either legacy or because of the color of their skin, their money, or their athleticism. They were not as smart at all, but they got to go because of one of those things. But most people only want to see the that when black people get in, they don't deserve that. That's all they want to see. That's all they like. If you're rich, it's okay. Even if you didn't have good enough grades, even though you're not all that great or bright or you stand out or whatever, it's okay because you're white. But CK and the Orange Man and like even that Miller guy, like none of them want to ever think about the unfairness with that. They only want to see, oh, if a black person got in because of a either scholarship or some kind of way that would especially financially help them be able to get in or whatever. Oh no, that's unfair. No. Instead of uplifting other people, let's just keep the rich richer. Let's just, even though that 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 rich family's child didn't work hard, it's like they just knew legacy. My father went, my grandfather went, so I'm going to. They got that privilege. And maybe I'll talk about it more in another episode, but the hope for change, the hope for freedom, the hope for the American dream for everyone, because remember, this country, the American dream was made for the white man, the white, straight, able bodied man. This country would hate me. The president, the current, the orange man does. He has put down every part of my identity. And proudly, other people around have put down my identity. They have judged every part of me. When Mr. Obama and Mrs. Obama were in the White House, I had hope. I wasn't diagnosed yet, but I thought at least, as a black woman, I would be able to strive and be seen and being taken seriously. And during that time, I kept being told I was the most qualified for many of the jobs, but then they always figured out a reason not to hire me. And a lot of the times they would even, during the interview, tell me it's because I didn't walk right, or I needed to first get my legs right or fixed, or I need to find a better doctor. But then the doctors would blame me and tell me, you're just making it up, you're lying, you want attention. Yeah. Look at where that turned out. But I had hope. And maybe I was supposed to hang on to that hope a little longer. I'm trying to have a grip back on it, even though we are in a very, troublesome time. It's like, oh, even with her documentary, though, it's like she made sure she represented different ethnicities, and she tried to show that Mr. Obama tried not to, like, so many black people were like, he didn't do enough for us. He was supposed to be the leader for the nation, not just for black people. He was trying to do things that would help all of society, because especially if all of society is able to like get certain things, then it's like, yes, we still need to work on reparations. We still need to work on the inner cities and things like that. But sometimes it's baby steps. Sometimes if we can fix the things as a whole, then we can start looking at the nooks and crannies and fixing things that would at least help dramatically the African American community. But if we work on the larger things now, that would take, it's like kind of like a domino effect. It's like if you fix the bigger problems now, then when you come back for the smaller ones, it'll have a better impact on the bigger ones. Or maybe it'll show little loops and things and whatever that needs to be fixed for the larger scopes so that they can connect together. But it takes baby steps. But a lot of, especially black men, were too lazy to go out and vote. That's one reason the Orange Man is in I'm going to be doing another episode all about the laziness of a lot of these men out here. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, Hispanic, all of that. But especially the black men. And, black men on the dating apps who write me and tell me that I was stupid to vote. Do you still think that? Those screenshots will be in Patreon. But do you still think that, men? You still think I was dumb to vote? Especially the people of color, man. Was I so dumb to vote? And the the Republican people of color, man. You want to call me the R word again? You want to call me stupid again? You want to say that this man is going to be the best things of our life? I'm not even going to finish that stupidity. I'm not. I'm not. I had hope. And thinking about the past and how we lost parts of our government, especially because so many people were too lazy to vote. We would not have the Supreme Court we have right now if it wasn't for a lot of this nation's laziness to vote. Or the president hasn't done enough for me. You sound like a Republican, because a lot of Republicans only vote for the benefit of themselves alone. A lot of Democrats, liberals, progressives, we vote for the country and the nation and how we can become better together. How can we strive for the American dream together? How can we have fairness for all of the classes of this country, lower, middle, and upper? How can we change things to be more equal, fair, and just? And so when you say, but it didn't help me enough, I'm not voting because they don't help me. And like, no, you sound selfish and conniving and awful. But then those are the men who try to write me telling me I'm stupid to vote. Those are the men who tell me that instead of voting, I should be having babies. Those are the men who write me and tell me that I wasted my time getting a degree, because what's the point of getting a degree? Because a woman is not supposed to go to school in the first place. And what kind of man would ever want to marry a smart woman? Do you know how many men in different ways have said that they do not want a smart woman? And that's why I want to be smarter. I want more education. I read more. I learn more. It's like even YouTube. I'm studying up on the politics. I'm studying up on business. I'm studying up on writing. I'm studying whatever subjects I can do and get in order to make myself better, especially for the business I'm trying to create. Because a lot of these men also hate the fact that I'm starting my own businesses. And then there was a point where, especially after Tomas, he was my boyfriend for like a month and a half, 2 months. But he broke up with me because I showed him, I believe it was my second or third children's books that I published on. Yeah. I think it was one of the Dragon Lusty Counting books. I was so excited because I was just like, yes, I'm starting to have a collection of books now. And I was like, this is amazing. This is cool. And I showed him, and that was the last, like, he showed me presents that he bought me. He had a picture because he was like, yeah, I'm going to take you out to dinner this weekend. Here is the forever rose I want to give to you. And then he knows I love animals. And it was funny because ducks were crossing the street. So he had to pause, but he took a picture because he knew that I would think it was adorable because it was a mama goose with her, like her little babies. And yeah, he told me he was gonna pick me up that weekend and we were gonna have date night. And then I showed him the picture of my children's book, and that was the last day. I think we talked that night, and I was even telling him about different book ideas that I wanted to work on, and even with the novel, different symbolism, foreshadowing. Sorry, I'm just there's so much in my mind right now, but different symbolism, foreshadowing, and things and metaphors, and like even especially the connection with the fruit. So yeah, if you're gonna read my novel, just pay attention to the fruit. um, and over there's so much more to it, but yeah, and he sounded like he was excited for me, and even with one of the ideas, he was just like, "You're so creative. You're so smart." And he was like, I can't believe, like, this is amazing. And yeah, I never would have guessed that while we were watching the sun come up, because that was the last time we spoke, like from 11 o'clock at night until the sun came up. I didn't know that was going to be the last time I talked to him, other than when I took a little field trip. I got into an Uber. Well, because our first date was at his house, and so I'm like, you're an idiot. But I needed to know why. I was like, why did you ghost me? And yeah, found out he was with one of his past ex. They were fighting and she slapped him. And because, yeah, this is all going on inside the apartment. I can hear everything. And neighbors coming up to me. But I already told that whole story, so I'm not going to say it again. But I just remember when I asked him, like, why did you ghost me? You could have just broken up. That was my way of breaking up. And you stupid men wonder why we choose the bear. If you're gonna break up with a woman, just do, like, it hurts, but we'd rather you be man enough. If you can't be man enough, just don't date. You don't deserve any bedroom attention. You don't deserve any affection from a woman if you're not even man enough to break up. If you're not like, and a lot of these men pretend they want relationships with women. No wonder we have no hope for man. No wonder we don't have any hope for you guys becoming better. You treat a lot of us like we're just usable, like we're property, like we can just be. You want us to have low body counts, but then you want to use us. And then you get mad when we're trying to have that low body count. And you tell us that we're supposed to, especially once we get older. Oh, so many men have told me, well, you're old now. It's like nobody's gonna want you, so you might as well let me sleep with you. Just gonna say, ladies, wait. Like, have your list of standards. Get to know who you are. Because a lot of these men don't care who you are. They're gonna try to force you to be who they want you to be. I think I might have found somebody who will allow me to blossom as a flower that I've always been meant to be. So, yes, I'm older, but I think I can see myself happy. Happiness is everything. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.